Hello, friends, and welcome to another installment of Go Tell It on the Mountain. Today, I have the pleasure and honor of being with the Reverend Dr. Barbara Callahan, who's the pastor of Hancock United Church of Christ. Barbara, I'm so excited to be with you this coming Sunday.
Yes, Reverend Goodwin, we are thrilled to have you with us February 9th. Looking very forward to it.
One of the things that we often talk about in these Go Tell It on the Mountains is a call story. So I'm curious if you'll share a little bit about your overall call to ministry, but then your call to Hancock.
Sure. I will. I felt a call to ministry at a pretty young age, at a very young age, but I grew up in a very conservative evangelical church and world in North Carolina. My mom worked there, and my dad was always one of the head deacons, and you're pretty steeped in it. So when people would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I would say a pastor, and they would usually say, "You will make a great pastor's wife," was usually the response. So I made my way through that call remained pretty central to me. But after college, I worked for InterVarsity Christian Fellowship, the parachurch organization, which had been really important to me in college, and thought I would go to seminary probably after a stint of that. And then I finally came out early in my tenure with InterVarsity, which then they terminated my job immediately. And so this was 1997. So that was done. And obviously that was very difficult. But one of the things that was the most difficult about that was I thought that meant that any path to ministry for me was done. And that I could never, that was what it was. And so there was a lot of just a grief process around mourning that path to ministry, or what I thought my life would be. And so after a while, I found my way to graduate school to become a therapist, which I did, and I practiced for 10 years. And during that time, as I was rebuilding community and trying to figure out what does faith mean for me now, and all of those things as sort of being newly out, I found my way to a little UCC church in Greensboro, North Carolina, that was pastored by the Reverend Julie Peoples for a very long time. And I basically kind of stumbled in the back door and sat on you, kind of just almost hiding. And of course, all the little old ladies there greeted me and invited me to be part of their circle and their sock tree and all the things they were doing, which I did. And so I was in my 20s at this point. And long story short, I became very involved there. It was a wonderful thing. I was in a bunch of leadership positions. I led the youth group for a while. And at some point in there, I was actually at a Vote Out Poverty campaign that was led by Sojourners in 2008, leading up to the Obama campaign. And my church sent me there to bring it back and train folks how to do this. And while I was there were seminaries recruiting. And it was the first time it had ever occurred to me that a seminary might accept me, even though I was gay. And so it just didn't compute anymore. And thus began a journey. And I ended up closing my practice and moving to New York in 2010 to attend Union Theological Seminary. My golden retriever and I moved up there and lived in a dorm room, and it was great. And I ended up being called first to a church just outside of New York. My soon-to-be wife was still working in the city, and so we stayed close by there. And then a couple of years later, I got a call up here to Hancock, and that was in 2015. Hancock Church. I was the second minister here until just about 4 years ago. And then the church went through an intentional process of discernment and voted to call me as the senior minister. And I began almost exactly 4 years ago. So that's been the path here.
What I will say, I take immediately from what you shared is, don't let someone else's period be God's comma.
Yes.
It's a phrase we make often, but it's often that the systems, the people who think that their vision for our lives can sometimes be smaller than what Spirit has burgeoning within us. And what you said in it that just struck me is, even without knowing what would be next, the
Mm.
hunger and desire didn't wane. And I think,
Yeah, and it was almost like my own period was there, right? Like I was like, okay, this is my life now. Like I've grieved it, and this is what I'm doing. I'm still doing meaningful soul work. I can do all these good things. Um, but it was just, it was really that literally kind of being woken in the night, like this is what you're doing now,
mm,
kind of thing that I couldn't shake.
well,
Yeah.
thank you for that. Which
Yeah.
leads me then to my next unshakable thing, and that's hope. I
Yeah.
think we are all in desperate need right now of an
Yeah.
infusion of hope. Where are you finding hope at Hancock right now?
Yeah. I'm finding a lot of hope in this post-election season, which I know that sounds perhaps contradictory, but I'm finding a lot of hope in the energy that my congregation has, in how we respond to the things that are going on. I'm finding hope that people are coming back. Some people that haven't been here in 20 years or have
Mm,
been walking through the door saying, we need this now. New folks are coming. We have a couple that sold a place in Florida, that moved and bought something here, particularly to be part of Hancock Church right now. So because of the things that are needed, what their souls are needing in this time, and wanting to be part of a community that's doing something and that is providing an alternative way of being in the world right now, that brings meaning and hope and purpose and connection, and that translates to action in these days. So a lot of hope around that.
One of the invitations I have for our churches, particularly with the conference Find Hope Now initiative, is that I think that the rhetoric we've maybe inherited is the church is dying, people have moved on. I mean, people are in a post-Christian reality. So and I keep finding, maybe sometimes by stumbling upon it, another time just walking into it, people who are desperately, in some ways,
Yeah.
seeking what I would call a tangible, real, and effective faith community. What they mean by that is they want to be fully seen in the fullness of who they are. They don't want to compartmentalize their faith experience, but they'd like the church to speak to the relevance of their everyday life. And as we do that, I think more and more people will either return home who've left or maybe became involved in other things, and then people who haven't even ever thought about a church experience.
Yeah.
I appreciate the most recent remarks from our famed now bishop
Yes.
to the administration, because I am seeing more positive Christianity across the internet than probably I have in 20 years. People reminding themselves that churches can be places of justice and hope.
Well, and I believe deeply that this is our time to shine. This is the time for the progressive church to shine. Like we need to be bigger and bolder and keep doing what we've always been doing, but do it more proudly and loudly. Like the world needs us. Like it's urgent. Like the inclusive gospel of love of Jesus Christ is urgent.
Amen. Amen. Feels like you've been in every staff meeting that I've had for the past 2 weeks. But yes, we are unified there. I mean, and then that kind of as a wrap-up question, how could people join us if they wanted to see and be a part of this hope that's at Hancock, to see the kind of emergent things happening in the life of the community?
Yeah. Well, easily on YouTube. We stream every single Sunday, and we have for a very long time. And you can go to YouTube. It's, youtube.com/Hancock Church. You can also go to our website, hancockchurch.org, and find information there and figure out how to stream pretty easily.
And then if you are watching this video, depending on which platform you're on, you're either going to see a link above this video or below it to remind you of how you might learn more about Hancock Church. Yeah. The good Reverend Dr. Barbara Callahan, I'm so grateful for your leadership in the life of Hancock, but also the conference. And I'm grateful for Hancock, who's choosing in this season to be a place of light and hope in the Southern New England Conference. So thank you so much. I can't wait to see you all this coming Sunday. Blessings.
Thank you so much, Reverend Goodwin. Looking forward to it.
Thanks. Bye.